Experts are seeing higher stagflation risks, and this is something that's been requested by a subscriber on my channel, so I thought I was going to make a video on what this is. Americans may not be done grappling with high prices, and combined with slow economic growths, this could lead to stagflation, something that the U.S. struggled with in the 70s. As we know, stagflation is a stagnant economy combined with inflating prices. Um, the tariffs can lead to stagflation. They lead to negative supply shocks, which a negative supply shock will be what leads to stagflation. Really, right now, at the highest risk that we've seen in the past 40 years, it was something that the U.S. notably struggled with in the 1970s in the oil embargo. Um, we had major oil prices increases that led to shortages and long lines at gas stations. Monetary fluctuations also prompted stagflation. It led to tightening of monetary policy, the Volcker shock. Interest rates were pushed higher. Central banks moved also prompted a severe recession. Um, and while this wouldn't happen today, tariffs could also affect corporate and consumer confidence, which would slow investment. It could also be resembled through the stock market. Stagflation isn't always a recession, as in there's negative economic growth. However, it can be slow, very slow or stagnant growth, and then with the inflation on top of that, that would be stagflation. They say it's the worst of both worlds, as it leads to higher unemployment and costs, and it's very tough. Now you may be wondering what's more about stagflation. So stagflation, we know, is the combination of high inflation, stagnant economic growth, elevated unemployment. Um, um, a lot of the Arab-Israeli wars in the 60s and 70s is actually what led to stagflation. Um, a supply shock and irresponsible monetary policy is what causes stagflation. Um, Excessive demand can lead to stagflation, but it's less common. Um, but a lot of stagflation was due to the increase in oil prices. Um, so that's my intro to stagflation. Um, Again, it's obviously more that we can discuss, like the Phillips curve, which actually has inflation and unemployment as an inverse relationship. Obviously, stagflation will be a shift along the Phillips curve, seeing as it's tying those two events together. On an ADAS model, you'll see the supply shift left. Um, and again, in order to get back to the LOAS, you're either going to have an increase in prices or you're gonna have a the LAOS shift left for economic decay, and that's really like why fixing stagflation is so tough to fix. Measures to curb inflation, like tightening monetary policy, can exacerbate unemployment. Reducing unemployment can fuel inflation because that's the relationship on a Phillips curve. You have to actually be able to shift the curve back to where it is and not just move along the curve. If you move along the curve, you're going to exacerbate some kind of problem, which is never a good thing.